Ignore that. So welcome to the Adelaide Microsoft IT Pro community for our March meetup. It's February just disappeared, so I mean, really busy, and we only got this out. Comms went out over the weekend. It's been a time, but we've got the next couple of sessions sorted, so get those out as soon as possible. My name's Andrew Young, AI workforce guy, also MVP in Microsoft 365 and security, working at Information. My details are on the screen there. Feel free to connect, mostly on LinkedIn.
Hi all, I'm Shehan. I'm working as an identity and endpoint architect at Bastion Technology Services. I'm also a Microsoft MVP in security, specializes in Defender, identity access management, and Intune device management, and everything in between. So you can find me on LinkedIn as well. The link is over there. X, and also I have my own blog, which is emsroute.com, where I write about those sort of things which I just mentioned. So there's a QR code if you want to scan and find more information about me.
Yeah, thanks to Microsoft for hosting us. And us being here for the user group, food, drinks, happy times, and so on. So in true fashion, we'll kick off the what's new, what's coming, and all that, and then we'll move into our main event. I'm sure everyone's reeling over the news in the last 24 hours across LinkedIn. It's been coming for a long time now, but it is licensing again. Kick off with licensing, and we had a joke. We joked before. It would never happen. It happened. Microsoft 365 $97. Frontier Worker Suite. So that's $99. I mean, it's around 140 Australian. But what we're seeing here is all the bells and whistles, or almost. We're still missing Viva Suite, but near enough all the bells and whistles in E5. You've got Entra Suite now. This is on top of Intune Suite that trickles into E5 probably a couple of months after this goes live. It's got the M365 Copilot Premium license in it, and it's also got Agent 365, which goes generally available on the 1st or 2nd of May. Right, so ensuring that all interactions, all agents, everything that happens in between is secure from the get-go, and there's governance in place from the start. So interesting to see how it goes, and what else will trickle into the other SKUs as well. But I think that's already been announced, and slight changes, little bits and pieces of increase is to the pricing coming 1st of July, but that was pretty much the buzz. And for the last 2 or 3 weeks, people have been posting, "Oh, Microsoft announced this," but they hadn't announced it until yesterday morning. So check the show notes for the links to all the fun things. Along with that, I jumped the gun a bit there. Copilot Wave 3 was also announced, and on the screen there, Copilot Cowork. Now, you might be familiar with Cowork if you've used any of Anthropic's products. It is using Anthropic's Cowork. So Microsoft have now gone into the different realm. So initially we had, it's GPT, cool. GPT became multimodal, text, vision, audio. Now they're going multi-modal. So I think Microsoft is going to pick up all the cool new AI that does all the things that we want, and it does it with good results. So we'll start bundling them in. So Copilot stops being you don't compare it with ChatGPT or Claude. Copilot becomes the platform, and there's a whole smorgasbord of different AIs and models to choose from to get your work done in the best way. Quick video.
Say you're an account manager and you have a big customer meeting coming up fast. Let's use Copilot Cowork to handle it. Because it connects directly into Work IQ, it doesn't rely on connectors, which only captures fragments of data and lacks full context about you and how you work. You need the latest account updates turned into a briefing doc? usage and sales trends to dig deeper, and a presentation you can walk into the room with. That's a lot of moving pieces. Copilot Cowork doesn't just respond. It takes your full request, breaks it into tasks, and carries the work forward, start to finish. But this isn't prompt and response. You can interrupt, steer, and add to it as you go. You remember you want to schedule prep time with your team and send a status update to the broader account team. Cowork folds it into the plan without pausing what's already in motion. It checks schedules and sends a meeting proposal your way, which you can book right then and there. Then it crafts the email, which you can edit manually and hit send, bringing the power of Outlook right into the flow of work. Now let's see what it put together for us. It creates a briefing doc packed with an account snapshot and everything relevant for the room. And it keeps to your original template formatting, a presentation that lays out the opportunities and your competitive edge, and a sales and usage breakdown with graphs and charts to back it up, all saved directly to OneDrive so the content is immediately enterprise knowledge that's protected and ready for collaboration. While all of this is happening, Cowork is moving all your tasks forward at once, and because it runs inside Microsoft 365, security and compliance come built in. This is Copilot Cowork, built for real work.
Yeah, so that's entering the Frontier program, just preview. Yeah. Now, agents in chat. So this is using Copilot chat. You can reference and talk to agents in there now. One of the other things that Microsoft have done is change up the entry point. So before we had, if you're in M365 apps, so Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you click on Copilot and it's chat experience. Turn it around. It's no longer now accessing the agent mode. It is now edit with Copilot. So by default, the chat will already have the tool, the agent selected. So when you go in, you just say, create me a document, blah, blah, blah. You can click across to remove it from the chat. So there you go back to just chat mode. But yeah, before it was a bit of an interesting user experience where you had to dig in and find how to switch back to agent mode because it was just doing chat. Mentioned multimodal, but yeah, I've updated my M365 Copilot app. I can now see Claude Sonnet in the dropdown. So GPT 5.3, 5.4 released last week. They're also available off the bat in Copilot. So you've now got 3 new models, one from a different company as well, ready to use in Copilot. So just mentioned, 5354 also available across Copilot Studio and Foundry at the same time. And if you're creating custom agents in Copilot Studio, we can now use your SharePoint lists as knowledge sources. You can also reference them in chat as well. So I think that was a sorely missing item from the get-go because you could only select document libraries and sites before, but lists were a different thing, even though document libraries are a list, but kind of different somewhat. And we got some new widgets and action button tie-ins with Copilot. I haven't looked into this yet, but yeah, I'm sure someone would find this as a handy use case. I've yet to look into it, but it's a thing. Agents in Viva Engage communities. So anyone that's using Viva Engage, it was kind of teased about this time last year, but there's agents in there now, so it helps you with scouring your communities for the right answers and so on, and helping you build out those communities at the same time. As I mentioned before, agent mode. So it now actually says edit with Copilot. So that is Word. So Word was a bit different. I just had a quick lunch and learn before. So the Word experience, you're still using the Canvas chat, or what to call it. So you're not selecting blank spaces now and clicking the Copilot button. There's a chat window at the very top of the page. That's where you interact with Copilot, and the chat mode is still on the right-hand side there. But if you go over to, say, PowerPoint or Excel, it will actually show you edit with Copilot in the flyout window. And we can now create your own agents in OneDrive. So selecting different documents and so on, you can create some agents. sure that's a really good use case, but you got your own kind of go-to guide or documents and you want to be able to reference real quickly, you can select some documents in there. Yeah. Lots more entry points to create and stuff no one's governing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Agent 365. But yeah, I mean, it just makes sense because it's you got SharePoint agents. It's the same but different because OneDrive is SharePoint. Speaking of SharePoint, yeah, SharePoint celebrated 25 years, and yeah, they can catch the recording of the keynote and a bunch of other webinars relating to all the new features, everything to do with Copilot and agents, and how SharePoint is now that I guess the knowledge house of AI moving forward inside Microsoft 365. There is also a hackathon going on, so if that's your thing, you can create some cool looking intranets. In true fashion, the knowledge agent is going to be rebranded to AI in SharePoint. Yeah, that corner icon, bring it up, you can start creating content. Essentially, they were giving it these things now, so there's more context, more control in what it does and what you're kind of focusing on. So, yeah, around assembling or classifying your document libraries and lists and creating metadata and so on, but also creating more agents alongside of that. There is a new look to SharePoint now. So rounded corners, extra toolbars. So this is the Discover page. So this is replacing the old SharePoint page. So when you click SharePoint in M365, there was that landing page that had all these random sites that you've never been to, right? So this is that, but more relevant, and you have access to more updates across your coworkers, different sites and apps, and so on. There's a new build section, so creating sites, creating pages, lists, and so on. Looks a bit nicer. And you got this kind of a I don't know, you call it canvas blueprint, kind of when you're building out the content, you've got this kind of live canvas on the right-hand side that's showing you the components that you're putting together to assemble that new site or page. New SharePoint admin agent. So this gives your SharePoint admins apparently I didn't put anything there. Gives them access to an agent that helps them manage, administer content in SharePoint. So, advises you of any issues with sharing or any other components you may have missed when you're authoring those sites and pages. But yeah, from an admin point of view. Anybody using Planner? Because it's the new project, right? So they have refreshed the Planner UI. It's more colorful, there's images and so on. I believe this is the non-predefined version. But yeah, there's some discrepancies between the built-in Planner versus the more premium Planner versions. So your premium plans will have different things that aren't there anymore. So you do need to experiment and find out where the like-for-like bits are, but it's not quite parity if you're moving up in the licensing there. You can chat within the tasks, so yeah, and mentioning people. I'm sure project managers would love that. And now there's a new goals view. So this is only for, I believe, the premium plans. Since Viva Goals was retired at the end of last year, I think this is kind of semi-replacing that. So you've got some form of objectives and key results to track there. Security. Anyone that's been managing Encrypted Online with PowerShell, they will probably get a new experience moving forward. So from June, there will no longer be a dash credential parameter. This is to enforce multi-factor authentication. Microsoft have done their secure by default and showing that all admin portals are now locked behind MFA. Part of creating those agents in OneDrive, we've also got sensitivity labels in OneDrive. So you can now assign specific labels within your own content. And I guess that gives you extra control over where that content lives or where it can be shared. So you're not inadvertently sharing it to the wrong places.
Bit of DLP stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can create your own agent in OneDrive and you may have shared it, but it might be something that's only pertaining to yourself or the department that you work in. You accidentally shared it to someone in a different department. That's where the labels help and stop people from accessing stuff they shouldn't. Speaking of AI and Purview, there is a new security dashboard for AI in public preview now. So we saw that there's a data security posture management portal with Purview. This is more holistic. So Entra and Defender come into this as well, and all of those other disparate locations where you have AI and data. So similar kind of thing. We've got a single pane of glass, all of the things going on inside your tenant in your environment. And it's just an inventory of all the different agents, different AI models and so on that you're using. And of course, the best part is seeing where all of the risk may be lying inside your organization. So it could be around your identities, your data, or your applications. But in this case, it's to ensure that your AI adoption and usage and governance is on par. And I believe that is talking to, I think that's too small. But yeah, you can now collate with your security team members on those potential risks or incidents that arise from what the security dashboard picks up. So I mentioned this last month, the traditional legacy original Microsoft Sentinel workspaces. The experience has transitioned to Defender XDR portal. I believe they haven't changed the end date again. So the end of this month will be that's next year. Sorry, end of this month next year will be your last chance to. Is that right? Yeah. So 1st of July was the original due date, but they've given us an extra few more quarters to get across that. And again, if you're using any on-prem servers of Project SharePoint and so on, SQL Server, those are coming end of life or end of support as well this July. Security training, I kept this in. I thought I would hit it, but I didn't. If you're a security creature and any of those things tickle your fancy, head on over to whichever one you choose and consume and learn and assessments and so on. Cloud native app protection policies if you're really keen on reading. And Microsoft Learn, there's been a bunch of new exams and certifications. It's all about it's AI work and AI jobs. How do we keep across that? It's also a good opportunity for us to rebrand because of the whole condensing 6 pillars to 3. So a lot of those where you see Azure, it becomes cloud and AI these days moving forward. So this is kind of the timeline in the next quarter and a bit. So these exams will be coming to beta soon. And just checking with the next images. So yes, so it is really refreshed. So not too many brand new ones in the list. There might be a couple, but a lot of them are just, here's the old exam and we're renaming it and adding in more relevant features. So it's been at least 3-4 years since some of these came out, and rapidly Microsoft adds new things within months, and so and you may notice that some of them being rebranded from data into AI. So that first one, for example, machine learning now instead of data scientist. One that's probably important for Microsoft partners is the Azure security one is now cloud and AI security. So AZ500 becoming SC500. That's particularly important if you're trying to get your solutions partner designations. But aside from that, they're all coming. And the ML, or the ML related one, the AI300, currently in beta, and there is a code there, AI300 Meridian, if you want to take it, get 80% off. It is, first in best dress. So the first 300 usages of that code will exhaust it. I'm not really sure that's in my wheelhouse. I almost passed the DB 100, but yeah, it's out there, and yeah, I look forward mainly to the security ones. And I hope I don't have to reset too many of the ones I already have, considering the cert name hasn't changed. So see what happens there. Just a reminder, we've got that's a concerning message. We've got other user groups in Adelaide. I think I'm on Meetup, the Meetup app. So sign up, search for Adelaide and Microsoft. You should be able to find most of us. Otherwise, we share this list across all of our different platforms as well. There's also a bunch of security community webinars. I don't know how clear that screen is for everyone, but I'll drop the link afterwards. I think there's one that is specifically Australian time zone friendly on the list there. It's all Pacific time except for a couple of them.
Yeah, that's the one which always hard to find, which actually goes with the Australian time zone.
Yeah. So I end up adding all of the time zones in my calendar. So yeah, half time zone, half calendar space. That's the link. AKMS/security community/register. Other events, I mentioned SharePoint Hackathon, that's still going. I think that ends next Tuesday. Final results end of the month. There's a technical takeoff across Intune and Windows. More AMAs across Agent 365, the data and AI security in the real world. The Microsoft MVP Summit is on. We are not partaking this year round. We will consume virtually. And then in April, there are a couple of events on around AI tours. So there'll be one for partners on the Monday and then one for the general public on the Thursday. So there's a 2-day gap. It's very awkward for travel plans. And then end of May, there is the Digital Workplace Conference taking place in Melbourne at the Sofitel on Collins. I forgot to put a slide or an image in here, but yeah, I'll be going and presenting at that. And we are pending on news and whether we'll get any passes for a competition. So generally we do this every year. There'll be a bit of a competition to hand out some conference passes, but you will have to make your own way over there and accommodate yourself. And yeah, Microsoft Build, the announcement came out. It will be start of June this time around, and they're going back to San Francisco if you're attending in person. As for the user group, so next month we're going to jump into all the, I guess, new things coming in Dynamics and Power Platform. So the BizApps 2026 release wave 1. I believe they've got the notes handed out, but yeah, we'll have Andrew Lee back for that to take us through it. And then the month after, we'll have esteemed adjacent user group host, Daniel Brown. And he will cover off Copilot adoption and return on investments and so on. I think I have a couple lined up potentially for June, July, but we'll confirm those. But again, if you have anything you want to request or if you want to present, please use the form, fill it out, let us know, or just message us if you're interested. It doesn't have to be an hour long, it could be 15 minutes, 20, 30, 40. Showcasing stuff that you've done or you've created that you're okay with sharing. Yeah. Yes, podcast is back. Stay tuned for some changes and news soon, later this month. Join the Discord community server, so SA IT Connect, the greater Adelaide area in SA, all IT folk, be it students, trainees, current workers of IT in one way or another, come along for some banter. We've got some support forums in there. We've got places for your blogs, your other events and so on, but it's a great place to chat with other people within our local community as well. We had our first lunch meetup for the year last Thursday, so keep an eye out for more of those events coming. It's a lot more slide heavy for myself.
Yes.
I feel like I should let you go first in this next.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, the topic of this one is around managing some aspects of M365. And this and point that to you.
Right. So this will be a bit of a short one, but I believe guest users, every tenant has got at least 1 or 2 guest users these days, if not maybe 20 or 30 guest users, depending on when they got added for different reasons. It can be maybe to share documents in SharePoint or to add someone into a chat in Teams or something like that. But they are just sitting there. And chances are those guest users from the guest tenants are no longer in that organization, but we don't know because there's no connectivity in our tenant, and the permissions will still stay because the identity has been created in your tenant, and that's still there. So there can be a big red flag if you're concerned, or you have to be concerned about the identity and stuff. But because now you've got stale accounts, or you don't know whether this user from the other tenant still requires access for this resource in your tenant. So I came up with a blog post a couple of weeks ago, like a checklist that you can go through to identify some of the best practices that you can follow and maintain within your 365 environment, and especially in Entra. So I thought maybe I just talk about 6 of those best practices today. So I don't have a demo prepared, but I got some screenshots. I'll go through those and I'll show where they are coming from. So these are mainly for guest users. You know how an external user usually looks like. You got the very famous Adele V there, and then basically it starts from the guest domain, .onmicrosoft.com.
Let's help you there. You probably don't have a Microsoft on the left. Because if they're using their user account, it would just be guest domain. But anyway.
Yeah, okay.
It's just for the people
assuming. My bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be on Microsoft, but yeah, it should be the guest user's domain, basically.
Yeah.
Console.com or something like that. Definitely we'll see the extension over there, and our domain, basically your tenant information of that side. So that's how you basically identify a guest user in your environment. So few things, these are the things which I need to, I want to discuss today. So access reviews for guest users as you review access for your internal users. Setting sponsors for guest accounts. So it's like, a contractor coming into your organization to do some work. There's always someone representing that contractor internally from your organization. So same theory applies to guest users as well. So there's someone responsible for these users. Entitlement packages, again, it can be sponsor settings. I'll go through that one as well. And also who can invite the guests? Is that, everyone can invite the guests in your organization, or just RBAC our role can invite the guests in your organization. And also guests from approved tenants, like going one step ahead with your standard guest user management. So we can talk about that one as well. And also condition access policies to cover guests, which is very important these days. So the first one, access reviews for guest users. So access reviews is a part of the identity governance in Entra. So that's really important when you have a lot of resources, SharePoint sites, Teams, applications, and everything. So basically, you have to create your access reviews from the identity governance side of things. And also you have to make sure that you include your guests in those in the scope. So what I've shown here is mainly for guest users only, but you can choose all users when you are selecting when you're creating the access reviews. So again, I have selected the review scope as select teams and groups. So there can be groups for SharePoint, and also there can be teams where the guest users are in.
So that message at the top saying if you get the a link to Azure subscriptions required to use some governance features for guests.
Yes. So they are coming under the identity governance. Yes. Yeah. I haven't put a note on that one. I can probably share that in the show notes maybe later. So if you have done your access reviews earlier, so it's the same way. So you set your review type, and then you set your reviewers. It can be someone else from a different team, or if you have a team owner already, it can be the team owner, or you can set as self-reviews as well. So everyone has to go through, they will get an email with a deadline, and they have to review to make sure that do they really need access. So that can be maybe a weekly, monthly, something like that. So you can set the period of that one as well. But I think a good recommendation would be the team owner or someone who's responsible for that team or the group altogether. So that's how you set up access reviews for guest users. And also, before I move on, so you can see in that way, when someone is reviewing the group for guest users, they will identify, all right, so this guest user was there long time ago. They really don't need access to this theme going forward. So they can just remove the users then and there. So that's a really good way to maintain and keep be on top of your resource groups. So setting a sponsor, this is really easy. So same as how you create a user in Entra ID. So you have your guest user created automatically when the provision happens. So you can go back to the user account, and when you go to the properties of that user, you can set the sponsor. So I've seen that's the last attribute there. So you can set a sponsor over there. So that person is responsible for that guest user going forward.
That section there, if you haven't got the licensing for identity governance.
I think I have, can't remember. You mean this one?
No, the add sponsor bit, is that there as well for regular users without that license?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's just another attribute.
I've not noticed
it. So this is where these sponsors coming into the scene. So so there's something called entitlement packages. So that's another identity governance feature. So you have to have your identity governance license add on in order to do this. So I think P2 would include the identity governance. Yes. Yeah. So I have specifically created one for users not in your directory. So they are the guest users and the external users. You have to set up your specific connected organizations, because the entitlement packages are somewhat special than providing ad hoc access to Teams and SharePoint sites and whatnot. So you have to have a connected organization. So there's a way that you have to go to the external identities and connect in Entra and connect the tenant first. And then it will identify under there, select connected organizations. You can add the tenant which you have already connected earlier. So it will know basically, all right, so this user is coming from this connected organization, and then it can go through the access, providing access. So entitlement packages are basically, say, if you forget about the guest user aspect for a while, if someone coming in as a contractor, we don't need to give access to everything. We just need to give access to a specific set of applications or maybe specific groups and maybe specific set of permissions to SharePoint. So, and also, so it's like a template. So you have your entitlement package and you set up, yes, who can request access and who can approve access. Doesn't need to be, have to go through a approval process, maybe one or two approvers. So you can create those and just leave it there. And if someone wants to get access, say a contractor, they just have to follow a link and then they can just grant access. So that's a good way of governing rather than just providing access then and there. And also say if someone is moving to a different department, rather than just copying another user and just giving all the permissions that user got already, maintaining and following an entitlement package will make sure that only the required access will be given to this user. So same applies to the guest user as well. So you can set up users manager to request access. In this case, you can set the sponsor. So they can request access and then the link will be provided and the guest user can access the entitlement package. So again, if say when the guest user is requesting access, so the approval can be, you can set up a number of approval levels. So I have gone through just first approval only. So it can be an internal sponsor. So this internal sponsor can be the responsible person for this guest where we created set up earlier. And you can set up like decision made how many days, require justification, yes or no. I would say yes. So you can have to have a bit of a justification as to why. So it's more like if you think about the whole zero trust. So it's more like just enough access as well as it's timed as well. So you can set up a time saying only requires access to this entitlement package only for 14 days, or you can set up as you need as well.
How many fallbacks can you have? Would you just have additional approvers there?
Yes, so I just put only one as the cloud admin, but ideally you can add more fallbacks if you want to. Yeah.
Is there any automation way for people to get invited in teams as a guest, and then you auto populate the manager and sponsor?
I haven't seen anything there, but I believe if you add a Power Automate flow or like a Logic app, probably you can just add those stuff.
Yeah, because all this is good, but then it's manual process. Who's going to do that?
Yeah.
Finding a sponsor,
yeah,
and then go like those hunting because you don't even know who invite them in the first place, and then check out stuff like as IT, we doesn't know when people stuff like invite guests and something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's a good segue to my next one. Who can invite guests? So in a standard scenario, so I'm not talking about B2B connect yet, like the cross-tenant synchronization and stuff like that. So in a standard environment, if you add this role to a department manager or someone, so only they can invite guests in this case. So it will be a guest inviter. So and also you can do some automation in Logic app, saying, for example, if the user is in this department, add this user as the sponsor for the user. So for this guest, so something like that. So you can be a bit creative on that front.
Is this going to go SharePoint file sharing or OneDrive file sharing for the named external user? Because of when you share file with external users, now this day they have to register MFA in your tenant, they become a guest user as well.
Yeah.
So because we block anyone sharing in SharePoint, so you want to share file with external people, it's a share as a named external people. So by default, when they get access, that they have registered MFA, they have to be your guest account in your tenant as well. So setting this one, is that going to block that external sharing?
It will not block the external sharing. So if you want to block the external sharing or if you want to manage the sharing settings, so that's specifically in SharePoint.
Yeah, but
so,
I mean, because of by default, when you share the file with external people, they need to be registered as the external guest account in the tenant as well.
Correct.
So that's why if you block this in, then is that will block that sharing workflow?
Yeah, so that's a bit of a we have to first identify, is it something going on already in your organization? And if you want to govern or put some guardrails saying, okay, not anyone can just share documents. It has to be first someone has to invite the guest. They have to redeem if the redemption is there with the email, and then set up as a guest user, and then they can share. So if you want to put some gun,
complicated, to be honest.
Yeah.
For a small business, it's too complicated.
Yeah, so
I can buy for it.
yeah, that depends on how you want to manage your guest users. So I've seen organizations where guest user connectivity is shut down completely. So in that way, if you want to give someone, someone like this in RBAC, so that's why RBAC, right? So not everyone can do that. Only the specific people can do. So if you want to put the guardrails on top of what you have already, so this will be can be a way to go. All right, so I think I just paused one. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, so we'll talk about the guests from approved tenants only. So this is basically, so what we discussed earlier, someone sending a guest user request and then going through that email to go through the auth and then get them provisioned as a guest user in your organization is called local guests. So what we are now looking at is basically guests from approved tenants only. So if you have a lockdown environment where you mainly want to provide guest user access to these specific tenants, then you have to connect those tenants in the first place. So these are all under B2B Connect. B2B Connect. So you add your tenant. So I have added one of the guest tenants over there, and I can say, okay, inbound. These are the settings for the inbound. If someone coming as a guest to my environment, and if someone wants to go to their environment from my tenant, so these are the outbound settings and what are the tenant restrictions and stuff like that. So in this way, you can have a controlled list of tenants for the approved tenants. So in there, so you specifically want to show the trust settings. So you know how the guest user have to redeem by going through the email and stuff like that. But if you have a trusted guest tenant, you can say automatically redeem the invitation. So they don't have to go through the invitation redemption step, which is good, I think, because I have seen every time someone has to go through that, you have to call and say, okay, I said there should be an email in your inbox. Just go through the email and just access the invite link, and then you can see what I'm sharing with you. But in this way, it doesn't need to go through those hoops. It will be automatically redeemed in your tenant and will be added as a guest user in your tenancy. And also you can say, if, of course, everyone got MFA these days, when you're accessing when they're accessing something from your organization, you can say trust or honor their MFA. And in that way, they don't need to go through another MFA step in your organization to access. But again, depending on your level of security, if you want like another MFA from your organization, regardless, you can just set it as normal. Yeah, so these are the default settings for B2B collaboration. As I said earlier, applies to if someone is going to the other tenant, these are the application. So you can say all users, sorry, if they are coming from their tenant to your tenant as a guest user, you can say these are the users and groups which are basically allowed to come. So you can go to that granular level as well, and you can also, if you go to the application tab, you can set who can access the applications as well. What are the groups basically? So conditional access policy is again important. So again, going back to the whole locking down your guest user settings. So say only if you want to get B2B connectivity or trusted tenants as users, guest users in your environment, you can say, I want to shut down all the local guest access. So in that way, anyone who got access in the traditional way of coming as a guest user, they will not be able to access, because there's now specific user type called local guests when you're selecting the conditional access policy, and you can say block access basically for any application or any resource. So, and also, as I said earlier, if someone coming in, you can say trust multi-factor authentication from their tenant, so they don't have to go through another set of MFA challenge in your organization tenancy.
The other tech boxes at the bottom.
So they are again coming with the conditional access policies. So say trust joint devices and compliant devices. So if you have set up conditional access policies to make sure the device the user is accessing is hybrid joined or compliant, this will be coming into the scene. So you can say it doesn't matter.
Those are getting a signal from the other party's Entra.
Correct.
Comes through.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it at the time it's coming into your tenant, right?
Coming in, because you first have to create that trust between the tenancies. Yeah. So it's more like what you call the two-way trust or transitive trusts within the domain controllers back in the day. So it's pretty much the same but different sort of a trust between the AD tenants, Entra ID tenancies. So say if you want to provide MFA to your B2B guests. So again, these are the criteria that you can see over there. The B2B collaboration guests, members, users, direct users, and local guests and everything. So I'm specifically granting MFA, but for everything related to B2B. So you are covering your guest users as well in this scenario. I think that's pretty much it. So I'll share the full list or the other stuff which I haven't mentioned in this best practices thing. Depending on your organization, the size of the organization, and how deep you want to go to block or control your guest users, that all affects and come basically strategy to manage your guest users coming to the scene as well. I just want to say, I will add the link in the show notes later, so you can just go and see all the other stuff for the guest users which I mentioned. And thank you, and over to you.
Yeah, sure. I will change to projection mode here and do a clip. Always risky. Just one thing I'll add on to your topic there, and I only found this out the other day because it was. I didn't look through all the B2B connects. It was set up right. I checked out the party. It was set up right on their end.
Right.
They still couldn't access a site that was shared to them as a guest user. So I was like, oh, what's going on?
Site level functions.
Well, it's site level, but you come in, like, you see that, it's like, oh, yeah, nothing out of ordinary. Even existing guests, with all legs, blah, blah, blah. That is a thing.
Oh, okay. There's a drop down.
There is a hidden drop down there. Right. And you can limit by domain. So you can, like you did before, at the Entra level, you can do at the SharePoint site level, you can set domains.
All right.
So yeah, a whole list of different domains you can add in here. So and
that's good information.
Yeah. So in case you burn all that time trying to figure out why it's not working, that's probably what it is. All right, cool. So my topic is around M365 Backup and maybe Archive if we have time for that. So by default, Microsoft doesn't back up your data. Now they have fail-safes in place around redundancies, and if the data center catches fire and whatever bad things happen, there's still a copy of that data on another server or another region, but there's no separate backup. Now natively they have it in their own Azure space, so it's not quite an air-gap backup, but it is another copy that you can restore from. So if we head into our M365 Admin Center, under our settings, there is a section here for backup. So if you have not done anything in here, you're going to see some red arrows and red crosses and all that, and it says it's not enabled. So simple enough to click the button here and it takes you to a billing page. So yes, it is a pay-as-you-go, relies on a zero subscriptions because it is consumption-based, and you can do it for storage. Microsoft is going to be consumption-based. So you can see there's billing policies, there's services. Seems I've not set anything up in here, but under services, you can see there's backup. There's also Copilot because you can have pay-as-you-go Copilot credits through this as well, but just focus on the backup this time. We do need to create the billing policy first. So if I click that, we can call it M365 Backup. I'll just spin it later. Subscription, so here's some I created earlier. So I'll just select A, right? You can always create a new subscription. You can create new resource groups. I will create a new one because I don't want it going into my Sentinel resources. I'll just go backup and I want to stick it in Australia East. So we'll create a resource group, which is effectively a container, a logical container within your subscription. All that, so accept. It's going to charge me and all that if I do the bad things. I'll just leave that as all users for now. And you can set a budget, so if you hit a certain amount within the month or the quarter or the year, send some email alerts. And I did try this the other day and it failed to save, so I won't go through this, but got the option to do this here. So when it's on a happier day, it should work. And you receive those email notifications when you reach or you start nearing that quota. So simple as that. Billing policy is created. Let that spin for a bit. And once that is created, we go back into the services part and we can assign the policy to that service. I should have created this beforehand. Yeah, this is the beauty of live demos.
At least it's working, so.
Well, for now. Stop cursing it.
It might stop.
Yeah. All right, so that's done, and you got a button here to connect your services. So it's nice paper trail there. We go back to the backup, and there's details, there's policies. We're going to connect the policy to the service, and okay, you can do some role-based control around the management of backups within departments. I believe it's just announced over there as well. You can now segregate the billing by department. That's an aside. So why did that turn off? All right, so connected and save. So we let that do its thing this time. So I've updated, it's saved. So now we close this and we go back to M365 Backup and we wait. And eventually it'll realize, hey, I've got a billing policy assigned to me and it'll let you do things. So while that's happening, let's go and jump into my Entra ID first. Really, I didn't time how long it took last time, but it does take a few minutes to realize you've done some stuff.
I'll add the link in the Meetup space.
Okay. So one thing, and once it gets to it, when you are backing up you're particularly backing up your users, but you're backing up the users' data. So Exchange mailboxes, OneDrive data, and then the SharePoint site. So when you're creating these backup policies, they will look at security groups on this, and also dynamic groups as well. So now that this is working up, there's a section up here around email notifications. So if you hit the edit button here, it gives you some information. So it only emails you if there's a bad thing, so potentially harmful admin actions such as you've turned off the backup or someone's made a drastic change. You can also get it to let you know if someone's done any minor adjustments to policies or they've done any restorations as well. And then you can say which admins receive it and even a custom list of recipients as well. But in here, we'll start with Exchange. So you do need to create policies for each of these workloads. So we jump in here. All right, yeah, mailboxes. So how often, how long. So you can here upload a list, very manual. You can use a dynamic rule, which is what I would suggest. You can use filters, you can select them manually, which is also again, a manual task that you don't want to do. So dynamic rule is probably the nicest experience. So I go next, and I can add a security group and/or distribution list. So I don't think I've got any DLs there.
You just select all.
Okay, but if you have new people coming and going, right, and you have a dynamic group, you can adjust your backups or if you have new people coming, you don't want to go, let me update this policy and add a new mailbox to be backed up. It keeps.
Well, other tools is actually somebody just target a tenant. You just say back up everything in this exchange, stuff like and things like that. This is rubbish because of like if you have to do dynamic group or you have to manually add things, it's not really sustainable to be honest.
I was going to get to that point, but now that you brought it up, so the API is open to all of the existing backup vendors out there. So Veeam and so on, they have access to this. So if you're familiar with using Veeam or whichever product you're using to manage your current backups, you just stick with that. So it uses the same stuff in the background, except the UI takes care of that for you. So it's probably doing the checking every day, selecting all the users, etc. But you don't have to do it yourself. That's the value in paying a third party to do things, right?
Yeah, I guess my question also is if now you're using the tenant, using Microsoft thing, and then normally backup you try to be a third party to be safe so it doesn't put them in the same bucket.
That's need air gapping. Yeah, I mean,
that's what I say. User then everything is sitting within the tenant. If the whole Microsoft thing go down, you have no access to anything. Even though you have a backup, you can't restore.
Yeah. I mean, the value in using this one is because it is native.
Yeah.
The recovery time and all that is significantly faster because it's in place in some situations.
Yeah. I guess as I said, it also depends on the cost model as well because by the look of it, you have to select and stuff like that. And then I don't know, I'm going to research because does it charge you every time you do a snapshot? Every time backup, does it like the SharePoint now is crazy because of my one file, you've had multiple version. So by even the change is small, they charge you the same amount of storage. So if you back up, so by every 2 hours or snapshot 2 hours, are you going to charge you the full storage of the original file instead of only snaps of the change during these 2 hours? So I guess as I said, have to understand more whether it's fit the use case, even though it's the same ecosystem. If the price model is not attractive, like how they charge on the storage and things like that, because of like you definitely want to protect, and then you have the policies that I want to do a snapshot every few hours or whatever, and then how they're going to count that storage. It is that sort of like inflated instead of just whatever the snapshot. Because Microsoft is crazy on SharePoint storage and things like that. We understand that on the versioning, even though you need a small snapshot, they charge you per sort of like inflated file size on the back end.
That took a turn.
I know, but I guess it's kind of relevant on whether you want to do this or on things. Yeah.
I've got documentation here. Like if there is going to be something in the documentation to address I've got a version. Why would I need 20 version copies of the same file if it's built into the actual file itself? It should just be the end file with the edits in between. You shouldn't need various copies. But I mean, the build model is consumption. So it's whatever's stored, right? So
that's what I mean. So the snapshot, they say the snapshot of the whole original and stuff like that, because that is always a big challenge from the SharePoint end. Yeah.
Dodge your question for now and come back.
Yeah, no worries. I know. It's hard question because of I know.
But in the meantime, so like you said, I mean, snapshots, I mean, it's doing a backup every 10 minutes by default for your mailbox, right? So I'm assuming that is just the deltas, so new emails that come in within the last 10 minutes, it's going to capture that. It's not going to take the entire mailbox type of thing, because that's you've got a 100 gig mailbox, it's not going to
I know, that's why I say Microsoft always sort of when we talk about the file version in SharePoint, that's why they explain as well. We say file version, you can change one, but if you look at the actual backend and your actual storage usage, they charge you for the full file size, the 100 meg, even though you only change 2 words. When they say the new version, they're actually using the same file size on the version that they store in the SharePoint. So that's why I say if they're using the same logic on this backup and stuff like that, it's not going to work because it costs you on stuff. Yeah, it's something we'll bring up because of why. Yeah, I have to understand more because of what the model, because of like, yeah, that's the thing that now face with the auto version streaming in the SharePoint. Yeah, but then, yeah.
Speaking of SharePoint, so same thing, you have to create a backup policy for that. And this time you have, well, there's no automation, there's no dynamic sites. So because people are going to create sites, create things all over the place. So you want to be able to protect the things that you care about. So CSV file filters.
Yeah, that largely it's become a manual process because third-party tool, you don't care how many people site created. As long as it's created, if you want to protect your tenant, you want to back up everything that get created. If this one become manual job, then it become a selective protection instead of full protection of the tenant.
Yeah, and those third parties, they don't charge based on how many sites.
No, I think
all you need, right? So
yeah,
then
charging
user, you can back up all of SharePoint and Teams.
Yeah, for the tenant, so, that's why it's an unlimited amount, and then that's why I say it's Microsoft come out is good in the ecosystem, but I don't think like what you say, if you have to manually select things without proper automation, adding new site and stuff like that, and then I don't know about cost model yet. It doesn't really sound attractive, to be honest.
This is Pete's wheelhouse. He's very quiet.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is automation because there's PowerShell baked into all this.
Yeah.
Right? So
I think if you check the whole graph,
it's all graph
see some stuff. Yeah.
So, I mean, Microsoft will be helping ISVs and partners create their tools and products, right? So if you're trying to come in here as like a consumer, you wouldn't be touching this.
Yeah.
So they'd be partners and the vendors creating backup tools and so on. But I don't know, like if you are a Microsoft partner or an ISV, you've probably got actual credits to play with, right? So you'd probably come in here and play with this yourself.
Yeah, I think the one announcement they recently announced, now we can restore file by granular instead of like just the whole site. That's crazy.
Yeah. Just making sure there's nothing in here. So create policy, that goes. And the OneDrive backup is similar to the mailbox one, so I won't necessarily go through that. But the main difference is, users OneDrive mailbox versus SharePoint is the being able to use dynamic rules. So that's going to go off. It's going to do its thing, and then we come into restorations. You can create restorations now based on what we've just set up. So if I want to do restoration for a mailbox, select a specific mailbox. I pick. Yeah. It's concerning when you see that.
I reckon the use case is like if you want to protect certain VIP and certain importance of like SharePoint site, then it will be a good use case.
Places that are likely to get deleted accidentally or intentionally.
Yeah, like I say VIP or certain important SharePoint site you want to protect for faster recovery. Then it becomes a use case for this. Because of but you want to talk about the full tenant protection, I doesn't see it sort of like work, especially with the pricing model and stuff like that.
I mean, there's a pricing. This one. Yeah, they give you this calculator.
Same with the SharePoint and the archive stuff as well.
Oh yeah, like when it comes to archive, it's a little bit different. But yeah, in the backup scene, it is.
How much it costs?
Yeah, you got this much in people's OneDrive, this much in SharePoint sites, and just in mailboxes. So that ends up being, whatever that is in Australian dollars.
That's also something.
That's just on mailboxes, right? That's 2 terabytes of mailbox data year on year that you can keep back.
2 terabytes, okay.
That's a lot of mail.
About 100 gig per user, and then stuff like
Yeah. I mean, how much does a third-party backup thing cost a year for all of your users?
I don't know. I think it's reasonable.
I have to figure out what that is and how it compares to whatever the calculation is, and it's
Most of the time, the third-party backup sites again getting saved in Azure.
some or whatever cloud they call themselves.
Yeah.
But it is generally either
there.
Azure and NTFS or something in the background.
Mm.
So same but different. It's all down to the billing model because they charge per user, right? This is charged based on consumed storage. So I feel like this is probably more, like you said, the predatory method to get it out, because if your data blows out, then you might be paying for a lot, which is the same as like anything else you play with in Azure. But apparently, now that I've set up the billing policies and backup, I'm meant to see archive somewhere. I've not seen archive for a while. Let's hit refresh. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you have to do it in SharePoint.
Yeah, you manage it in SharePoint. I think you have to turn it on still.
I think after you enable the pay-as-you-go billing, then you actually do it on SharePoint Admin Center.
And so they have formally moved it. Here, refresh.
It's under advanced, I think. No, setting I forgot. Yeah.
Still written up.
I have to show all.
Not much more. Yeah.
Well, in case you're interested, this is how you turn on the new SharePoint experience. It's toggle enabled. I thought, because early days and last year or before when I did it, there was two sections here. There was backup and archive, and it seems they've either moved it or it hasn't shown up yet. Either way, similar-ish thing. According to the slides, it keeps a copy of the things that you don't want surface. So because it is in place, if you need it, it comes back straight away. But I think the main point of having it like that is being able to quickly archive something, because once it's in archive state, using Copilot or AI, it doesn't see it because it's hidden from index searching and the graph and all that. So that's where that happens. In terms of the storage, it consumes your existing SharePoint quota first, so it's got it in place. The data's still there. It's just a matter of keeping it data relevant, not so much deleting stuff so that you've got SharePoint storage quota back. That's a different conversation. So that's why it consumes your existing quota first, and if it hits your quota threshold, then it starts charging. So it goes down that path of the Azure consumption. That's where this other calculator comes in. So crazy site collection. You've got about 100 terabytes of storage across your tenant, and then if you start using archive and you haven't reached 100 terabytes, it's free. But if you've hit 100 terabytes and then you keep archiving and you keep creating more content, then it's going to start charging, and that's where you'll see the money is. Yeah, the other thing to consider, so at this time last year, there was changes around users with OneDrive being unlicensed, and wasn't that a fun time when people didn't realize and data was lost. So after the 30 days retention, and originally you could have turned on up to 10 years of retention on OneDrive data. But because of that change, anything after the 30 or 90-day period after the grace period elapsed, that data then went into auto archival, but you couldn't access it. It was still there. You just couldn't access it. So unless you turned on like the pay-as-you-go billing and using archival, you can then restore that access to the OneDrive and get stuff out, turn it off. So if you're still within that period, you can kind of still do it. If not, then the chance that data may be locked behind those doors forever, ever. I don't know how long they'll keep it for in that archive state. So if you realize that you've unlicensed some users and they had OneDrive that you need access to, that's probably where that data is sitting right now. Yeah. Well, the shame I did want to show the archive screen as well, and I swear it was next to it like before. Anyone want to correct me on the call?
I wasn't the setup. I
thought you had to set it up as well.
No,
because it
sorry.
was
This under setup.
under
Under sorry, yeah, setup. Sorry.
Oh, this is the other setup. Yeah.
Site activity, custom tool setup, and prone, device manage. Nothing much there.
Oh, it says Copilot. What do I enable archive? I assume this is the admin center Copilot experience.
Yeah, hopefully.
And at this point, I've exhausted my demonstration, so anything that happens now would be a benefit. Oh, okay. Aren't you a helpful chap?
Now that's why I say it is crap happy Copilot. That's pretty much.
Well, there's some limitations. Archive, file level archive is preview. I need to check because I don't see.
Yeah, set up.
So we've done that. That's the bit, where is that? Why did that?
Doesn't open.
It's gone.
Awesome. Let me scroll down. It says
They said turn off.
Turn off. Okay, so this went to
what?
this turn off archive down.
You set up.
Yeah.
Right. So you.
Okay,
We did that. Storage services. There you go. Services. Page. Org settings. Seriously, hide behind this. You can go away now.
It's not big. Settings.
Settings.
0.8.
Setting. And then click setting storage.
Storage.
What a way to go about that.
Yeah, enable building for archive. How to see.
I'll stick it on subscription B for.
Yeah, that's what I plan to do in next few months. In my tenant.
Hey, Sentinel or?
Now the archive.
Right.
I'm planning for that.
Yeah.
But we have to do the SharePoint domain rename first.
Well, that's not too bad. I did one recently. It wasn't too bad.
Is that?
Yeah.
Only the Power Platform and the Power BI, you have to manually.
I don't think I did the Power Platform side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why they are.
SharePoint side's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I know. SharePoint anyway. The thing is, when we have Power Platform and Power BI, that is a lot of manual action because the redirect doesn't work. That's what I've been working on.
Okay.
Yeah, because if I enter archive now and then you change the domain name, screw it. You can't restore anymore. You have to reset up the whole archive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the rename is one of those things you don't just do.
One off.
Yes, you.
One off for your tenant.
Yeah, one off, or you contact Microsoft support and plead your case, and they'll do it again for you. All right, so the billing. I've turned on the billing. Assigned it to archive, so then we can now use SharePoint archiving and all the bit about the OneDrive accounts I mentioned. So can we toggle that? Whole bunch of text. Confirm. Just gonna make sure I turn all stuff off afterwards. All right, so now that that's on, we should see it in the SharePoint. That's big, yeah. There you go, there's a new archive site section. Cool. That's nice. So, well, geez. Okay, so once you turn it on, you get a little message here. And I believe if I just select the site, I should have an archive button now. A huge footprint there, 4 megabytes. And you just hit archive, right? And then confirm.
So meaning if you have your archive policy set up, where to archive and what to archive, then it will be what to archive. after a certain period of time. Is that right? Like how you do archiving in mailboxes.
I don't think
I
so.
think there's a policy around.
Now, at the moment, it's still manual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or you have to use some sort of site life cycle policy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because site life cycle policy say that when the site become sort of inactive
Yeah.
for how long, then you can choose either delete them after how many months,
Yeah.
or we have the archive enable. You say put it in
Oh,
archive.
okay. Yeah.
Site attestation policy is the
That's blocking access.
the automatically archive.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, so that would be the one to use to automate the process of sunsetting those sites that they're not being used. But once you've hit archive on one manually, this is where it lives. You can still access it, but I can reactivate them to bring it
Yeah, I guess I'm waiting for the granular restore. That's another challenge as
Yeah.
well. When you archive, people say, "Oh, I need this file." I wouldn't know reactive the whole
It's like
site.
100 gigs. I just want 2 megabytes out of 100 gigs right at the.
I said, "No, you have to restore the whole thing." I say, "No."
Alright, it's back
Then it
there.
becomes 6 cents, become 20 cents again.
Yeah.
You find it funny how I've enabled backup. It's still showing me the notification to backup. Thing. All right, so quick tour around backup and archive, even though we had some detours. Helping you guys pave the way so that you don't have to go through the same pain.
I reckon that's what it's good, but that is still early stage, to be honest. Because for it to be useful, you need to have that granular functionality. Because else, who want to survive back whole archive whole site and then you have to restore the whole site? That just sort of like become crazy for the customer. Of mine say, well, I archive that, but when we want one file, okay, like I say, 100 gig, but then how about a terabyte site? Restore a terabyte, and then I just want that one file.
It's just some notes around the limitations, but it's still in preview. So until it becomes GA, but I mean, not too much to sing about there.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I say it say they're going to preview in this quarter. Yeah, but who knows how long?
And in terms of the backup, I think there was some specifics around it. $0.15 per gig per month. So it's slightly cheaper than extra storage for Office 365.
Then you really will
Well, no, it's 28 cents for the extra storage per gig. That's it's all around the restore speeds and stuff like that that some people will be really keen on. Just
that's why I say for a whole tenant, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But if you talk about some VIP people, like your CEO or stuff like ELT, where stuff like that data is important, whatever you get corrupted, then you want the faster restore and some important stuff like SharePoint site with contingent data, whatever, stuff like instead of going to the party tool, then you have the backup within the tenant, then the fast recovery, then it makes sense on those cases.
on that note. Good stuff. All right. Well, thanks for coming along and people for tuning in. I don't know how many people there are. That's give me a number. But we'll look forward to seeing you again next month. Hopefully get those events booked in tonight and ready for registrations and so on. I'll let you know as soon as there's any news around Digital Workplace Conference Pass competition and stuff like that. But of course, we only had them out if you're attending in person. All right. See you next month.
Thank you all.